One other thing we wanted to ask you about. Now, I guess you make accessories for Leatherman tools. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's my I'd call that my side hustle. So I've always been a fan of Leatherman tools
Okay.
and use them personally. And at one point, basically, even before we got the 3D printer at work, I started making these using Shapeways. In fact, I don't print them at work. I still print them on Shapeways because work printers for work.
Sure.
The Leatherman Wave I was carrying every day. I didn't like carrying it in my pocket. So rather than I went and looked at holsters, every holster out there at the time are just big, thick leather things, and they're really bulky. And I didn't want to have that on my belt. I wanted something slick, and so I ended up designing a completely form fit. And this is the free P4, not the Wave. But this is completely form fit around the tool. I 3D model the tool to a ridiculous degree. In this case, you could take my 3D models and make your own P4. 3D model the tool, then this is precision wrapped around it with very small tolerances and a nice clicky sound, and it actually clicks in, so there's no rattling
Wow.
and things like that.
That's amazing. That's 3D printed by Shapeways, I guess. Is that using the same sort of process that you were talking about earlier?
Exact same technology. So this is nylon 12, the same kind of printing technology, which allows me to do again things that are impossible to do. There's internal features that are holding the ratchet driver in here, which is actually quite secure. There we go. That allows me to have these things dock and
Oh, wow.
and,
Yeah.
and be a good fit, and it's lightweight.
So how much would one of those how much are you selling those for?
The holsters sell for, depending on the size of the tool, they sell from 35 to 55. I make a small fixed profit on each of these that I basically have set, and the Shapeway sets the prices for the rest. What's one reason it's form fit is that when you go to a bureau, you're paying by volume. The amount of space this takes up in their print and the amount of material it takes is what they're interested in, and so it's optimized. But the cool part is, because this is 3D printed, I sell this in over 50 different variations and combinations. Belt holsters, with and without ratchet drivers, horizontal carry, things that attach to metal clips if you don't want to trust the plastic, things like that.
So 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 does Shapeways actually build it and then fulfill orders, or
Yeah.
do you have stock of that?
Now they build, every single one of them is built on demand and
Wow,
shipped
that's
out.
that's interesting.
I prefer it that way. There's a lot less overhead and a lot less liability and other things that go along with that. I've researched printing them in mass, selling them on Amazon. I'd have to take quite a bit of profit hit to do that. I might sell more, but I'd also have a heck of a lot of overhead of packaging and fulfillment to Amazon and things like that. Again, I couldn't offer it on Amazon in 50 different variants. I mean, I couldn't stock that many, especially because I offer it for like 10 different tools.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised, because they must do a pretty. Their 3D printing must be pretty reasonable price wise. Because I mean, for $35, if you're making a profit on that, that's nice. I mean, I'm surprised.
Yeah, like I said, it's not a huge profit, but it funds the hobbies. And then Shapeways also does the metal 3D printing. So this little part here is a modification. This is actually my most popular product, which is adding a bit holder to the free P4. So the free P4 is one of their highest dollar kind of fanciest tools, and then unfortunately, got some of the worst implements as far as doesn't have the diamond file, doesn't have interchangeable bit holders, things that the Wave has that I wanted to have with the P4, and so I basically added those back to my own tool, which is really what I made all this stuff for, and then now I can use it to kind of fund my hobbies and as a little side business.
They put the word free in one of their most expensive tools.
Yes, I think it's a
Is it?
horrible name for yes, it's the free P4. So I don't know. They did it.
I can afford that. It's free.
Yeah. The funny part is they called it free as in freedom, and I'm the one enabling freedom. I'm allowing you to change your tool. Among tool heads, there's people that really like this stuff. There I have to kind of I have to purposefully stay away from some of that, because the everyday carry knife collecting groups, they can get into collecting every little thing that they can get their hands on, And so I get people like asking, hey, can you make me a holster, for this flashlight, or can you add on this accessory? And I have to kind of say no to a certain point because, yeah, that customer wants it. They think 20 other customers want it. The reality is, whenever I make something like that, the funny part is I usually don't make it until 5 people request it. 2 people will buy it. Out of those 5 will buy it. Sometimes 0. And then no one will buy it for 2 years, even if it's available.
But you don't have to keep inventory, so it's just
I don't have to keep inventory, and I don't have to do tooling, but it is a lot of time. And I like my time for my fun props, and I do work on this stuff quite often. But I also treat this the same way I treat all my props. I have everything documented. I 3D model all of this to ridiculous detail, and I actually create the rendering. So when you go in and you can pick from 9 different colors, I've rendered every single color. So there's 55 permutations of this tool times 9 colors. It starts adding up, where if I need to make one little tiny change and I have to re-render, that's 3 days of work of going in and tweaking and then photoshopping every single image to color calibrate it and everything. So it's a lot more work than you'd think.
Yeah, I've never done this exactly fulfilled it by that, but I did a Kickstarter last year, and it was more work than I thought it would be, even though I've been told it was a lot more work than I thought it would be. I guess it's like you do it and then you actually know a little bit. But I mean, with you though, you're not stocking any of the inventory, so that's got to make it a little bit nice, at least from that.
It's good and bad because I sell it on my website, which is ZapWizard.com, and then I also still sell them on Shapeways. The Shapeways interface on their website, unfortunately, is gotten bad, which is why I made my own, so that I could have beautiful renderings and better selection ability of the different variants. But in either case, it's good and bad because when there's a little bit of lag time, right? So since it's made on demand, the metal parts can take 3 to 5 weeks, depending on what their production load is. Usually 3 weeks. The plastic parts take 2 weeks, so they're not the instant overnight gratification that you get from Amazon. And so that's the only thing that kind of irks people. But at the same time, people can now select whatever they want. They can get any combination of holster that you can't do with any other product. You go look at other companies. There's other companies that have similar holsters, and they're either printing them on an FDM machine, which is much cheaper feeling. This feels like solid plastic, and I've had this on my belt for years. And the worst thing I've ever had to do is Sharpie the black a little bit.
And that's the SLS. SLA nylon process that they're using.
Selective Laser Sintering.
SLS,
yeah, I keep calling it Selective Laser Sintering. Okay. I've also heard it called Selective Lithography. But to me, lithography requires a little bit more. So yeah, Selective Laser Sintering is what I call it. And it's the unique part, like I said, the unique part about it that I was talking about earlier is that it's much more of a monolithic material. There's no internal voids necessarily. There can be at a microscopic level, but there isn't. When you handle it, it feels like solid plastic. It doesn't. You don't hear that hollowness that you get with an FDM print. But it's also flexible and things like that. So
I've 3D printed a few
product.
Kilograms of nylon on an FDM printer, and it's amazing. It's nasty. It's stringy. It drips. It drools. But the parts are stupidly, solid and rigid.
Yeah.
Well, they're not rigid. It's kind of softish.
They're flexible. It's flexible, and there's different classes of nylon that go with that.
But it's tough. The little strings that when you print PLA and you get stringing and it just pops right off. I mean, you have to cut the nylon stringing off with.
That's why zip ties, right? That's why zip ties are made of nylon, and
it's fantastic stuff.
And hand tools and things like that. Yep. And there's different classes. I think zip ties are nylon 11, which is a stretchier version than nylon 12. Nylon 12 is a little more solid, but it's still quite flexible. I love it. I'm using it now that I get to have access to it. I'm just printing even just prototypes. So even for the Radiation King radio here, I'll print a little prototype of, say, where my speaker is going to go. Make sure that fits. I don't have to print the whole thing. Just print a little chunk of it. And printing out knobs and all sorts of stuff like that is always fun to do.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. So if we wanted new accessories for our Leatherman tool, we would go to ZapWizard.com. That's your website.
Yep. I have links to my prop projects on there too. At one point, I was going to kind of separate my websites into a store website, and I just decided just to have one website because I don't like maintaining lots of things at the same time.
Yeah, it's tough to know exactly what to do, I guess. Yeah. Well, listen. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about that we haven't asked you about? Anything maybe we don't see of you on YouTube?
No. You guys are doing some really cool stuff. I'm checking out more of your podcasts. You guys seem to find a really cool balance of creative people and products and things that I haven't run across before. I'm basically just on the Replica Prop Forum and YouTube. I used to hit everywhere, and it just takes too much time. Actually, you can even dig me up. Pat can dig me up. Because you're doing the little LED project that goes on the front of a computer.
This is
I
true.
am one of the old school PC modders. Used to run a group here in Austin called Austin PC Modders, or Austin Modders. And now I'm actually not PC modding anymore. My computer is really quite ugly and just needed to work. But yeah, I would have loved your kind of stuff back then, as far as getting into blinging out the computer with gauges and stuff like that.
And I'm terrible. I'd be happy with the beige box again, like I had in the 90s. I don't.
Yeah.
My computer hides under the desk over here.
What I want to know is which one of you have you been working in your Pip-Boy for longer, or Pat, have you been working on
the Uber lights for longer? I think we might be up to 3 years now.
Yeah, no, I'm up to 5.
2.5.
And it's living in Austin, Texas, or Pat probably knows this too. Basically, we hunker down for the winter and the summer, so I got to work on my projects during that time. Now it's spring. I'm out doing landscaping and other things, and so it's like I have this thing where I work on projects for 3 months, and then there's like hard cutoff. Good weather, got to get outside, get some stuff done, and then my projects all go to the wayside. And when I come back, I'm interested in something else. Hopefully the Radiation King doesn't go away. The nice little this guy I at least finished. He's a real simple project, but I have so many unfinished projects.
Well, I finish all of my projects.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody does.
Well, actually, you can see from the. I've got a list somewhere around there about all the projects that I probably won't get to. In fact, I think I erased some not too long ago just because they've.
I get an itch. I leave them on my desk, kind of forcing myself to hey, you better finish this and get it out of your way.
I don't know, because then you do something, you get halfway done, and you're like, oh, I've got a cooler project to work on, but really you just need to get
I also,
some stuff done.
Because sometimes. I use it for learning. It was like with Pip-Boy, I got all the mechanical stuff done. For the longest time, I couldn't find a screen, and I'm gonna butcher this. Like Pipperoni is the name of the UK company similar to Adafruit. They released a 4-inch 720p screen that just hooks up to the Raspberry Pi. And now that unlocked the Pip-Boy, so that jumped me back into the project as far as, hey, I got a screen working. So then I learned Python, I learned how to do Pygame, and I wrote a GUI that works for the most part. And then I ran into issues with my radio, basically, the radio that was going to be on the Pip-Boy. And that's when I started the Radiation King project, because it's like, okay, I need to learn this chunk of Python, and I need to learn how to interface the Raspberry Pi with the Pi Pico in order to get analog and digital together, because the regular Raspberry Pi doesn't have that. So that's it's learning experiences that kind of push to the next project. And yeah, yeah. The thing is a fun reason to do it. Something that doesn't exist, something that somebody hasn't done, is always a fun challenge.
Yep.
For sure. Well, listen, Zap, as we call you, we could find you at ZapWizard.com, and on YouTube we can look up ZapWizard, and anywhere else we should look for you. I guess you said that's pretty much.
Just you can dig me up on the Replica Prop Forum. As far as that's where most of my projects live these days. The Pip-Boy project log is insanely long, so you can read it as a book now. Some of the other projects are much shorter. Where I've still kind of learned when I do YouTube. I try to do things live. I actually don't like editing videos, so. If the project's really long, it's going to be a lot of photographs and me typing out on like the Replica Prop Forum or my website, and only the short projects will I do in like a single video on YouTube. I'm trying to do more, but it's more just vlogging rather than whole projects.
I get that. I don't like editing video either, but I do it.
Where can we find you, Jeremy? Uh-oh.
And
my
Pat,
goodness.
we can find... Oh, me? Well, thank you for asking. So yeah, you can find me, jeremyscook.com is my website. I don't post a whole lot there, to be honest. I'm on Twitter at jeremyscook, or if you look me up on YouTube, I'm Jeremy Cook. And also on Tindy, I sell stuff at jcdevices.com. So you can, I guess, find my stuff there. So now what about you, Pat? Where can we find you?
Oh, I'm on the internet, Jeremy. All over the place. But we'll just be lazy. If you just go to patshead.com,
Interesting.
There's links to all my other stuff there.
Well, yeah, Zaps, thanks so much for coming on. We enjoyed meeting you.
Yeah,
thanks for making awesome stuff
fun.
that we can talk about.
Cool.
For sure.
Thank you. Bye.
So, all right, take it easy.